Ghetto!
In an ever-changing world where surface temperatures rise, prices climb, wages fall, and attention spans shrink, one thing remains certain: white supremacy. Today, I wanted to cover how Black culture globally, and especially Black American culture, gets appropriated and bastardized in the digital age, along with the paradox of Blackophilia.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Magic Johnson.
Who's your favorite movie star?
Eddie Murphy.
Who's your favorite rock star? Prince.
And Blackophobia.
Pina, all you ever talk about is this and that. And all your favorite people are so-called
It's different. Magic, Eddie, Prince. I'm not niggas. I mean, they're not black. I mean, let me explain myself. They're black, but they're not really black. They're more than black. It's different.
It's different?
Yeah, to me, it's different.
Fair warning, I don't partake in the diaspora dual discussions on this channel, but I'm highlighting Black American culture because many of the stereotypes I'll be discussing today are rooted in the Black American experience. While Blackness is regional with different parts of the diaspora facing unique challenges, white supremacy doesn't really bother to make those distinctions now, does it? Under its gaze, we're all seen similarly, if not the same.
Still nigga.
Although I'll mainly be focusing on the Black American experience, I'm also highlighting its overall impact on Black people in general. This isn't about separatism. If anything, it's to show how connected we really are across the Black diaspora. I'll be using terms like Black, white, and non-Black in a general and reductive manner throughout this video, and that's not because I believe these labels are fixed or absolute. I'm not here to make any type of essentialist argument about who's authentically anything, because race is complicated. Though race is a social construct not rooted in biology, it still shapes how we navigate the world. Its meaning shift depending on time, place, and systems and power. And while culture is far too layered to fit neatly inside racial categories, these labels still carry weight. So for the purposes of this video, I'm leaning into those everyday common sense meanings and understandings of both race and culture. What do she, her, him, and them all have in common? In more ways than one, they've temporarily performed or adopted Blackness, more commonly known as cultural appropriation. Adopting Blackness is the consumption and later portrayal of a myopic version of Black culture. This is done by filtering out and discarding cultural elements deemed useless in the moment, allowing them to cherry pick specific, stereotypical, and trendy cultural references to later present in a way that's convenient without experiencing systemic anti-Blackness, caring about where it comes from or what it might represent.
When I walk into a room full of white mother, guess what happens? They treat me like an other. Anytime you've been discriminated against, that struggle of being treated different, minority, look at all these mothers in Puerto Rico right now with no power after this hurricane happened. Your skin might be darker, my skin might be lighter, but we all Black, girl. We all came from the same place. As far as culture goes, there's real and there's fake, and I know who I am. I'm Black.
This didn't start with them though. Blackness, or what's perceived as Black identity, has been historically exploited since the dawn of time. Blackface Minstrelsy in particular was a form of entertainment that started circa 1828, but didn't reach its zenith until around 1850. Minstrel shows were derogatorily comedic traveling shows across the US and later London that consisted primarily of white actors in exaggerated interpretations of what they rendered as Blackness and executing said tropes for amusement and compensation. Black faces, tattered clothing, gobbledygook vernacular were all part of the gig, and these shows were largely popular because as America grew, so did the need for entertainment. And what better way to entertain yourself in the masses but to find a common enemy and stump them while they're already down? The American people made minstrelsy what it was, notorious, as minstrel shows were entirely American in their origin and content. Go figure. It brought what they claimed as Black songs, dances, and jokes to white America, and it quickly became the most popular entertainment form in the US for more than half a century. Racial interaction between whites and African Americans was limited due to the racial animus at the time, and there was virtually no integration between the races. But it was a show worked in blackface and dialect by folks who had no authentic connections to the people and much less the culture, which leads me to believe non-Blacks enjoyed this because it appeared new or different and soothed their fears of Black people through ridicule while simultaneously acting out their fascinations with Blackness. Their lack of exposure to Black culture made these shows even more captivating. They didn't fully understand the harsh realities of being Black in America, but that only intensified their desire for more. This parody of Blackness birthed an averse obsession, aka the Blackophilia and Blackophobia phenomena, propagated either from ignorance or hatred, as well as the birth of many horrific Black American stereotypes that are still widely recognized today. Just as whites couldn't resist the urge to try the new Black dances of the 1830s, so too have their descendants through the 20th century and beyond been drawn to Black American pop culture. From the exploitation of enslaved Africans to the popularity of minstrel shows and the later hijacking of jazz, blues, rock, and hip-hop, white consumers have consistently framed Blackness as something to be be consumed. At times, dangerous, often cool, but always useful. Jazz was once race music, then it became American music. Rock was built by black innovators, then turned into Elvis. Hip-hop faced moral panic until it became a billion-dollar industry. First they hate, then they imitate. It's a pattern.
Who wants to be black? I don't understand that. I really just can't comprehend it. To be black. Everything I do is just black, blackity, black, 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 black. I could put a blonde wig on and blue contacts and wear my face white as George Washington. Y'all still gonna say I'm trying to be black. Y'all just dramatic.
And they wonder why you ended up being this like super defensive, like it's part of your nature.
That's what I was just telling my new manager. I was just talking to him about it too. I don't want to be black.
I didn't hear that.
And it didn't stop in the 20th century. It just evolved with the times. Today's minstrels don't need burnt correct honey. They've got memes, bodily aesthetics, music, AAVE/BVE, and so forth. Their lack of understanding makes them curious, ultimately leading to adoration.
There was literally Haitians on every corner. All the little girls used to braid my hair and put beads and stuff. So braids to me, I grew up wearing that. I never knew that it was cultural appropriation.
But if you asked me, mimesis would be the more appropriate term.
I'm about to get braids on Monday. Like, I'm not gonna stop because y'all don't understand. I know how I grew up.
While Bill Usman is often credited with introducing the terms Blackophilia and Blackophobia to describe the contradictory relationship white youth have with black culture, one rooted in both fascination and fear, the idea didn't originate there. In Bamboozled, the fictional rap group Mau Mau's delivers the line, "The government got the black phobia," and the term blackophobic appeared in print as early as 1992 in The Advocate, suggesting these ideas were already circulating culturally and politically before being coined in academia. Blackophilia refers to the surface level love or obsession with black culture by non-blacks, particularly white youth, as a source of both pleasure and anxiety.
The world has gone crazy. We got white kids with do-rags on their heads. Why you got the do-rag? What's that? You got wave? See, this is what happens in the suburbs. Black culture to another level. Look at that shit. Look at that. Show your wave. Show your wave. Oh! This is crazy!
It's characterized by consumption and fascination without a genuine understanding or respect even for the lived experiences of black people.
I am probably one of the most cultural appreciative people there are. I'm not gonna stop because y'all don't understand.
Usman argues that this consumption is largely apolitical, where non-blacks typically engage with apolitical black cultural curators, those deemed safe or marketable, and this ensures things like music remain entertaining but not radical. And when engagement with blackness is tied more to aesthetics than activism, it reinforces white supremacy by making blackness palatable without shifting power. It doesn't engage with the historical or systemic struggles that shape black identity.
Do you feel like you could say the N-word?
I feel like I can say it, and I'm gonna tell you why. What the f are you gonna do about it? And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them, eating with them, doing bad with them, loving with them. It's like I done went to the jungle and earned the lion's head. I remember being disrespectful like where I'm from. And then me being just who I was mean, bro. I used to just look for it. Not even trying to justify it, but y'all just got dropped off before us. That's all it is. We from the same boat.
Donald Trump, if you can hear us, please, Donald Trump, please save me.
Instead, it often flattens blackness into a commodity. But some argue that non-black cultural engagement signals progress and should be viewed as a net positive since something is always better than nothing. You know, let them eat cake.
But that also comes with hip hop getting so big too. The flip side of that is like, is part of that good too because it just got so big. So many people can come in and make money.
However, this further perpetuates the disconnection between black members of society and everybody else. Modern America has a number of ethnic others, POC, as y'all like to call us. I hate that shit with the fire of 1,000 suns, by the way. But black people in America have historically been the most visible other due to the US's extensive track record designating us as outsiders. Therefore, if black people are seen as strangers, then non-black people are framed as doing us a favor by interacting with these perceived anomalies. I liken it to those noble content creators who shove cameras in homeless people's faces, where the help starts to feel more like a performance than compassion. Sure, someone benefits, but the interaction still feels exploitative. That's the same energy when non-black people engage with blackness. It centers their performance, not our culture. This process of othering reinforces the idea that whiteness, historically positioned in opposition to blackness, is the norm, superior even, and we should feel grateful for their wanting to interact with the stylistic elements of our culture. But as Bell Hooks pointed out, RIP, contemporary commodification of black culture by whites in no way challenges white supremacy when it takes the form of making blackness the spice that can liven up the dull dish that is mainstream white culture. This allows non-blacks to gaze in on and unpurchased moments of authentic Black culture produced in the mass-mediated marketplace. White adoption and celebration of the distorted Black image promoted by white-owned and controlled cultural industries doesn't directly challenge white domination or institutionalized racism if it's not linked to any movements of anti-racist policies, ideologies, and social movements that seek to change the structures of our society. Basically, there's a huge difference between acts of consumerism and acts of citizenship, since consumerism can often take the form of dalliance.
Some kid right now, this white kid, regular like Caucasian man, and he's like mocking Future and Gucci Mane rap music. People are like, this shit hard. It's not even like satire. It's like, I'm just joking, I'm just mocking it. But I'm like, no, you can't. This is like weird. And I'm looking at it and something about it like don't even sit well with me in comparison to someone like a Mac Miller or Eminem, who it didn't seem like they was mocking it. They had a genuine love for it and they were still just being.
Sure.
Aside from when Eminem was wearing do-rags.
And again, in recent weeks, this has been kind of propped up as the defense of Ian in light of criticisms that he is essentially just like a random white kid copying the style of more popular and prevalent Black artists and doing them kind of a disservice in the process because his interpretation of their sound is quite mediocre, shitty, and lazy. Already off the bat on this track through his delivery, mannerisms, inflections, he does come across like that one white kid that you know that spends too much time on Instagram and Twitter and is in like people's comments being like, get that unk shit out of here. Oh man, you making a stupid ass unk comment. That guy sucks. Don't voluntarily be that guy. Still, the way Ian markets himself a lot of the time is, oh, hey, isn't it like quirky that I'm like making this music and doing this stuff, but I'm like a white guy?
In contrast, Blackophobia denotes an irrational fear, dread, or aversion toward Black individuals and communities. Even though they're consuming it, there's still a negative perception of Black people themselves.
You're not allowed to wear braids. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I can't wear braids. And if anything, Vikings invented braids, so it's not even cultural appropriation. And if y'all can wear wigs, I can wear braids. So what's the issue here? Said something about my braids.
I saw her braids. I said, oh, those braids are ugly. Saying that to my cousin. Kept on walking. He heard. He said, oh, what did you say? Pulled out his camera.
She wanted to say something, but now that I'm behind her.
No. It's my opinion.
All because of a hairstyle.
This is the phone right here.
Right there in the ice cream shop. It was a hate crime.
Boy, if you don't get... Usman argues these seemingly isolated phenomena may be best understood as interrelated aspects of white supremacy. Although the historical process of blackface is largely over, the adoption of Black cultural forms in the 21st century is still a performance akin to the minstrel performance in blackface, not through rituals of ridicule as in the previous eras, but of adoration, which is why the motives behind the performances may initially appear to be different, but the act is still a manifestation of white supremacy. So when people argue that any attention to Black culture is better than none, or that it builds bridges and we have to invite motherfuckers to cookouts, we have to ask what kind of bridges and what are they built on? Mutual respect and equity, or just extraction and performance? Because it's far too easy to adopt signifiers of Blackness when they don't have to deal with the consequences of Blackness in America.
Choose a player to ding dong ditch, but they have to kick the door hardest. We should go do that, y'all.
In this neighborhood, bro, and then we get arrested, we tip the burglary, like, we Black. It ain't gonna look good.
You're thinking way too deep into it.
I'm saying, but that's the problems that we be going through, man. This shit real out here, you feel me?
Next, you see how boring they are?
So why do people blackfish? People adopt or perform Blackness for a range of reasons, but I've noticed this most commonly occurs for three. These are in no particular order, but for attention and clout, an increased social credit score, and as an act of rebellion. There's not necessarily a specific time frame when these people make this Black switch, and most times it's not even permanent. It's done just long enough for them to get their brownie points from their tokenized Black peers, pun intended, along with media attention, and they eventually revert back to their roots sooner or later.
Have you seen the Hood Mr. Beast trend on TikTok? Do you have any advice how I could be hood?
Can I tell you what to like wear?
Yeah, help a boy out.
All right, I'm gonna give you 2 tips, okay? Go ahead also and get you a black do-rag.
Am I allowed to wear a black do-rag?
Yeah, bro. Everybody's allowed to wear the black do-rag.
Do Hood Mr. Beast, but this time with Kai. Guys, I'm not doing it.
This can't be.
Whoa, whoa, hey.
For example, the Kardashian Jenners. I've never had to watch Keeping Up with the Cultural Appropriators. Kardashians, sorry, tomato, tomato. Everything I've learned about them up until this very moment has been against my will, as social media has always kept up for me. But a few years ago, they were always in the blogs with the new brand, Black Man, BBL, Black Vernacular, Biracial Baby, Braids, girl, you name it, they did it. Kim, Chloe, Rob, and Kylie, in that order, all have mixed race babies, black and white. I feel like that should be implied, but in case it's not, there you go. Honorable mention, Courtney has a biracial stepdaughter. That's a joke, by the way. I mentioned them not because they've procreated with black people. This isn't that video, but maybe I'll add it to the list.
My baby is black. I only like black. All I get called is a lover all day long. Who the cares?
But because all of them used to be black women, except Rob, and now they're white again. I'm 100% aware of the Kardashians, not the Jenners, being Armenian. In America though, Armenians are classified as white by race, even if ethnically distinct, so I just wanted to put that out there. But that family was like the final frontier of appropriation. They were like the apex appropriators. Talk about social chameleons changing colors figuratively and literally. They should have changed their last name to Kanekalan or something. This family grasps at whatever is trending, and personally, I find their transracialism race experimentations extraordinarily bizarre. For the longest time, they've used their modified bodies to emulate black features with makeup, lip fillers, cosmetic and plastic surgery, spray tans, etc., 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 etc. The list quite literally goes to infinity and beyond. They're all the proof in the world that once elements of black bodies are used on non-black women, they're then deemed desirable because black people aren't inherently valuable in this Western Eurocentric society, but were used as a disposable simulacrum pop currency rather.
It takes someone like Kylie Jenner to make big lips a thing when black girls have been walking around with big lips forever.
Are black women the only women in the world that have curvaceous body parts, wear braids, and have darker skin? Of course not, because there's always that one genius. But have black women's bodies been fodder for commerce and conversations for centuries in this country? Absolutely. The Kardashians check off all blackfishing boxes 1 through 3, but an even greater example of that rebellion that I mentioned is Miley Ray Cyrus. I don't know if Ray is her middle name. I just remember her daddy saying that. Maybe it's the daddy I'm referring to. Nonetheless, from the squeaky clean, innocent Hannah Montana character to her boisterous ghetto thuggerella caricature, Miss Montana had enough of being viewed as a child and wanted to be viewed as an adult as she began to age out of Disney. So she did what they all do. When in doubt, black it out. Blackness has been synonymous with adultification and hypersexualization. So she did the whole twerking, rapping, and utilizing of black people as props thing in hopes that it distanced her from that childlike image. Naturally, there's a lot of trauma that comes with child stardom, and Miley Cyrus has my empathy for that. But blackness was not the antidote, and it's no justification for all that shit she was doing around 2013. I don't want to hear no excuses talking about she was young. We all do dumb shit as a teenager, because that's the problem when discussing these issues. Y'all want to police black feelings and silence black voices, but I'm not gonna shut up. You're not gonna convince me it's not that deep, because it's always that deep. Go racially gaslight someone else. So Miley is no different than her contemporaries. When they're in dire need to escape a certain image, call it the white mold or white gaze, or run the risk of falling off, they go in search of a marketable rebellion. That typically means exhausting something that's culturally specific, which in this case is ephemerally running to black art forms to save themselves, and in the end, washing their hands of this mockery they've made of Black America. So much for once you go black, you never go back. Am I right? Don't be dense or get smart by saying, so people can't grow or change. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It happened over a decade ago. Because I promise, if you made it this far and are still thinking that, there's nothing I can do to help you. Unfortunately, Mr., Miss, or Mixed Oppositional Conversation Style. This era of minstrelsy is often referred to as digital blackface. Coined by Joshua Lumpkin Green in 2006, it describes how technology allows non-black individuals to assume black identities online, which can occur in many ways. Just think cultural appropriation, but with Wi-Fi. It's a virtual mask over the same old tropes. It's just easier to share and monetize now. And it's without a shadow of a doubt that in this algorithmic age, it's a congruent performance akin to the 19th century minstrels. Black people are still being instrumentalized. Memes, seemingly harmless jokes, trends, language, and aesthetics are largely influenced by black culture, which is why the social media isn't a real place and real people don't think like that stance is unbased. The further we progress into this technological singularity, which isn't stopping anytime soon, by the way, I hope y'all are ready, the more we have to realize realize and accept that digital spaces need to be taken seriously as anthropological sites of inquiry. The digital and material are not separate. They are entangled and they both largely influence the world's processes. Politics has always been a popularity contest, and I feel like, and I'm saying I personally because every time I come to a certain realization, I realize that other people have realized that as well, but I've just yet to come to the consciousness about it. But I feel like I've seen an uptick in political propaganda due to our lack of social media literacy in this age of mis, dis, and malinformation. Digital media impacts our judgment and understanding of the world. So as the plagiarization of monolithic blackness continues, so do the stereotypes it's built on. Warped caricatures removed from context that have been dizzily diluted and remixed, but circulate like bats out of hell. These aren't just one-off bad taste cliches reserved for the entertainment world. They're tools of structural harm. Your dad went to go get some milk. Fatherless behavior. Black dads are never around. A myth rooted in racist propaganda that erases the presence of loving black fathers and burdens black mothers with superhuman expectations, often forcing them into roles that society then weaponizes to label them as too masculine or too angry. It also pathologizes black children who, when raised in environments affected by systemic neglect, are more likely to be seen as at risk or worse, threatening before they're even given a chance. Man, I don't like black girls because they too loud, mean, and ghetto, but I love spicy Latinas and snow bunnies. If it ain't snowing, I ain't going. Misogynoir dressed up as preference. Black people are genetically stronger, which makes them better athletes. A stereotype that props up medically racist beliefs like black people feeling less pain or needing less care. Black people are just so swaggy, funny, confident, unbothered. A myth that erases black mental health struggles and paints vulnerability as weakness. These aren't just benign and offensive opinions. They're recycled performances of blackness stripped of context and turned into consumable content. That's cultural appropriation at its worst, when the caricature thrives and the people behind it suffer. These may seem like blatant stereotypical archetypes that exist outside of cultural appropriation, but they're symptoms of a larger machine that decontextualize and distort marginalized culture for mainstream consumption. It ain't just about white boys listening to rap, getting dreads and wearing grills, or white girls getting box braid and fetishizing black men. It's about how these aesthetic choices and social behaviors get rewarded in the hands of non-black people, while the originators are penalized, socially, economically, and institutionally. These actions enable the appropriation. They reduce blackness into something digestible, marketable characters, which people then feel entitled to emulate because they've been taught it's just funny or trendy, not something rooted in someone else's real-life struggle, survival, and history. It's an ecosystem where appropriation feeds off these reductive ideas to justify its play pretend, while leaving us to deal with the fallout. The thing about pop culture, though, is that it borrows from a grab bag of mediums, hence the name popular culture, but it does so with no regard. So whatever's available is going to be borrowed, and the borrowings will be borrowed as well. As the lines continue to blur, frequencies reduce, and we adopt this colorblind society front, we're left with residuals of what once was. So when someone such as myself mentions how BVE, for example, has been bastardized and written off as stupid Gen Z slang, we're told, again, it's not that deep. I know y'all see them corny marketing campaigns or companies commenting on posts using ethos to appeal to younger audiences. They establish a connection using their newly discovered black lingo to commodify our colloquialisms, brand and sell it, and then on to the next campaign. I don't like the word branding in this context, but I use it intentionally. So since this colonization of black culture in our contemporary era isn't as bad as what our ancestors endured, this hijacking isn't viewed as serious. So non-blacks will continue to listen in on black culture and emulate mythological ideals, all while claiming,
who wants to be black?
We live in a society where white supremacy is a daily presence within all of our lives, and yet it's proclaimed that we've achieved the end of racism, when in fact, white supremacy and all the things begotten from it are still very much present. It's just easier for it to fly under the radar, disguised, coded, and subtle, but not really when you're chronically aware of everything and are capable of reading subtext, no shade. Taking from a culture you'll never interact with or appreciate beyond the superficial surface is cultural appropriation and entitlement. It's a colonizer habit that needs to die hard. To claim to be colorblind in a world full of color is ignorant. Might be well-intentioned, but it's not conducive. Race may not be real to you in your little fantasy land, but it's real to black kids, black teens, black adults, black women, men, and everyone beyond or in between. It's real to the government, to the cops, to your teachers, to healthcare professionals, to racists, and so on. And now to quote Jasdeep Kaur Kaur. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Going forward, we need to have a digital reckoning with how we occupy and act in online spaces. They do not exist in a vacuum. They are an extension and perhaps an intensification of the systems and world we live in. Asking ourselves if it perpetuates harmful stereotypes, characterizes Black people, if it is necessary, and most importantly, if one has the agency and authority to use this particular image. A digital reckoning should emphasize history, decenter whiteness, and interrogate the consumption of the other through fetishism and appropriation, not only to dismantle anti-Blackness and white supremacy for Black people, but because these oppressive structures impact everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. Sorry it took a while. Let me know your thoughts. Comment them down below. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. See y'all in the next one. Later. Toodles.